right. Welcome to the Spoiler King. My name is Tankcramer. I'm with Will, and are giving you guys every week the best movie review you ever heard. I don't know, exaggerated much. I'm trying to make a new intro or something. I don't know if that one worked so well, but we are reviewing the weekly big blockbuster or expected big blockbuster. This week's one was Dear Evan Hansen. Hansen? I don't know. So we're gonna talk about that one a little bit. But before we do, man, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. Had a gender reveal party for my cousin. Found out, and I guess right. I still have the bracelet too. Let's see if I can get that on camera. Team boy,
That's
and
right.
yes,
You were on.
yeah. That's the side that I decided, and then when we finally got the reveal, boom, we found out baby boy is coming very soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty exciting news. Pretty exciting. I love spending time with family. So it was pretty nice, man. How about you? How was your weekend?
Mine was pretty chill. Did some yard work. I put up the Halloween decorations.
Snap.
Usually we go really, really big and have like a whole graveyard scene, and like it takes up the whole yard.
Okay.
But this year, we decided to go a little simple, and we just went with a few. I think we had like 4 inflatables. So nothing crazy, man. Well, we got it. Yeah.
It's pretty cool though. I love when people go above and beyond and they like fill their whole house with like haunted, scary stuff. There's a place in I think was it Wicker Park or Logan Square that the wife and I always go to every year, and it's come to a point now where there's lines outside the house just
really?
for people to see the decorations.
Puppy.
Yeah,
Bucktown.
it's in Bucktown. There you go.
Bucktown. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, hit me up on the socials if you want to find out where that is. But it's definitely a sight to see. Like by now, like they keep upping it every year. By now, they have like cosplays that are so like,
oh wow,
like so spot on. It's dope. But anyways, we're talking Dear Evan Hansen.
I don't know. I keep wanting to say Dear Evanescence. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I was like, that's way off. Go, man. You wanna watch the trailer?
Let's get ready. Yeah, let's watch the trailer real quick, real casual, and I'll read off kind of what it's about. So, Evan Hansen is an anxious, isolated high school student who's aching for understanding and belonging amid the chaos and cruelty of the social media age. We all know how that is, right? Everything that you put on the internet is put in ink. You can never erase it. He soon embarks on a journey of self-discovery when a letter he wrote for a writing exercise for his therapy sessions falls into the hands of a grieving couple whose son took his own life. Now, when that son took his own life, he had that letter in his hand. Yeah. And it reads, Dear Evan Hansen. It's a letter Evan Hansen was supposed to have written to himself. So it's just a therapy type, I guess, exercise.
Yeah.
To kind of self-reflect and self build or something. But yeah, we have some kind of big stars in here, right? Yeah. My favorite one is I have 2 actually. Are the parents. The parents of Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize them from anywhere?
I know that's Amy Adams.
Yeah.
Is the mom of Connor, which is the boy. The dad, I'm not sure who that was.
So he's super dope as an actor. When he was on the Special Victims Unit, what's it called?
Oh yeah.
He played a cop that kind of played who?
Nick Amaro.
Nick Amaro is a character that he played, and he's super gritty and super like, man, he goes ham. So like I already have like a love for him because I know that he's gonna like commit on his role. Now, did he like amaze me here? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, before we really get into it, we'll let everyone know this was a Broadway musical turned into a movie.
Nice.
The record for Broadway musicals going to move or becoming movies suck.
Yeah. Yeah, they never
Very,
turn out well.
very rarely does a musical transfer into a movie, even if the musical was great. And this one, the musical was great, supposedly. I haven't seen it, I don't know, but people like loved it. They're like it was the best musical of 2020 or whatever. So I don't know, but the main character,
Yeah.
who Evan Hansen, he's played by what's his name, Ben Platt, who was also Evan in on the play in Broadway.
Oh,
So,
no
so
schnickies.
so he knew this character pretty well.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, so that's a little more of the background in it. But yeah, man,
That's pretty.
you want to get some of the good stuff because I got a lot of bad stuff. So we'll get into
Sure.
some of the good stuff
Sure.
first.
So, some things that I kind of liked about this movie, or it had such familiar faces, right? I'm digging to the bottom of the barrel for this one, but yeah, familiar faces, like Julianne Moore, she's super, who plays Heidi Hansen, she's pretty dope. I love Amy Adams. I love, like I said, Danny Pino, even Rue off Hunger Games, she's in here, and that's cool that
Really?
she's getting jobs still, right? Yeah,
Oh,
her Amandla Stenberg that plays Alana. She plays
yeah,
like the one that's like also like taking pills and whatnot.
yeah.
But yeah, she's in here, and that's about it. I don't know anybody else. I'm sorry. So that's just my ignorance. That's not even that they're not like famous. That's just me. I just don't know them. But that's one thing that's cool. I some familiar faces that I like seeing on the screen. My second thing is they try to get you in the feels, and a lot of them are hit and misses what they were trying to do. And I understand what they were trying to go for. But they just delivery was a little off. So like a couple of times, actually a lot of times, there was moments where they were trying to hit you in the feels, but it ended up just being cringy altogether.
Yes, yes. Oh man, yes.
Trying to get you in the feels. So here's the thing: this movie is only going to be relatable to like 1.3% of high school teens, and that's just almost the truth. That's my opinion, but that's really where it's designated for, because this is the kind of movie that it shows you the perspective of someone that goes through these awkward, isolated incidents, right? Everyone goes through awkward, phases and whatnot, going through high school and going through puberty and whatnot. Like, we've all kind of seen it, right? But he kind of gets like the freaking man, he gets the worst. He embarrasses himself at a funeral, and like drops the mic and the stand, and he's looking up at everyone. He's just like staring, and it's again cringy. But I like that the movie went there. I like that the movie showed you that point of view, but because that point of view, or that that the eyes of someone like that is not seen too often. A little bit, right? We've seen a little bit in Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, when he's kind of like
Yeah,
awkward and whatnot, and like he's on
yeah.
the bus and no one lets
Not this
him,
bad though.
but
Not
not
this
that.
bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you feel for the character, and I'm glad for the effort. The effort was there. There's some movies that they have no effort, so that's where I kind of give them a couple claps.
Great for you.
I feel like one last thing that really stood out to me is they had a decent ending, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But it tied all knots, and it was just again cringy, but it left me not like not I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it left me like not wanting more. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, everything's resolved. Boom. Let me just go.
Yeah, like
go on
you're
with my life.
happy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Content. Happy
Yeah.
is a strong word.
Yeah. This part for this one is. Yeah, I can see that.
I was very content at the end. But yeah, what did you like, or what stood out to you about this movie?
So since we're like, you already talked about the ending, I think the ending probably was the best part, and that was maybe 10 minutes long in a 2-hour freaking movie. Yeah. Besides that, I mean, the singing was obviously really good. You know, Ben Platt, he can sing. I mean, he's been in any movie that you can think like that has like younger, we're gonna talk about that in a second. People singing, he was in it. What's that one? It's Perfect. That was like the big one, and he's big on Broadway. Like I'm pretty sure I saw him in when I went to go see Book of Mormon on stage. I think he was one of the main characters. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was him. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like anything like really really good. They had a good ensemble of actors, like kind of what you said, but part of it was like, did it take away from the movie almost? I feel like, like because it's a musical, so I'm like, okay, who's gonna sing? Amy Adams didn't sing. I was kind of surprised Julianne Moore singed, kind of, I guess she kind of sing.
Yeah,
but really, he was the only one that did most of the singing. Most of it, I would say maybe like 75%, like at least 3/4 of the songs were all him.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
are you a fan of the musical?
Usually no, but there are some that I really do enjoy. Which one was that? Hamilton.
Oh, you like Hamilton?
Hamilton is the best. I saw it live, like on stage. I see Wayne Brady was in it, so it was really cool. It was really. I've seen it a few times. One time on stage because tickets are not fucking cheap. But I saw it like once Disney Plus got it. Me and my girlfriend watched it a few more times. But yeah. I mean, I'm not. I don't hate musicals, but I don't find myself liking a lot of them. In the Heights wasn't too bad because I guess we did another musical too.
It happens.
But yeah, right.
it was a slow weekend. Like, so we were talking about this earlier, and we were like really just scavenging for what movies were releasing this weekend, and there was really nothing. So we were expecting to do the movie The Guilty, which stars Jake Gyllenhaal, which would have been nice, and it's a movie that I was kind of looking forward to a little bit, but that got pushed to next week. So look out for that when we come back next week, Monday, right after 8 p.m., right after dinner. So you can
maybe not because next week is Venom.
Oh, next week is Venom.
Weekend.
Oh, then
I already got my tickets.
Sorry, yeah, I did me too actually.
Do you?
we get the Venom tickets? No, yeah.
No, I asked you if I could get it.
Yeah, I said no, yeah. Okay, we should get them soon.
Yeah, get them right now.
Yeah, we should get them soon.
When did they go on sale?
They went on sale already.
They're already out.
Yeah, they're on.
We're going opening day.
We could try. You know our theater does well.
Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills. That's going to be an exciting one too. That's next week.
Oh yeah. Well, that's going to be HBO Max, right? It's going to be out on streaming as well.
It should be. I think I might still watch it in theaters.
Didn't see it in theaters. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. The last
I might risk it for
5. Yeah, but I don't know, the last 5 versions of Halloween, like either the remakes or Halloween, whatever. The last good one was what? H2O?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that later. We'll get into a whole we're talking about the wrong movie. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of tells everyone what they think about what we think about this one so far. One other thing that came out of this one is there's a new crying meme.
Is there?
Yeah, I sent it to you. I don't know if here, I put a few up. So there's this one, which
Yeah.
is freaking hilarious.
Oh
It's,
yeah,
it's on
yeah,
screen.
yeah. That's so
So
bad.
like
Oof.
I didn't know that was because I looked it up and I'm like, oh, what are people saying about this movie?
Yeah.
And right when I looked up, this scene was happening on on the screen when I was watching it. It was just like, oh,
Mm.
yeah. So
He reminds
yeah,
me
it
of
was,
this of the video game that I play, Dead by Daylight. So in
uh,
there, they used to have well, we still have a character, but they kind of changed his face because of how I guess unpleasing he looked.
yeah,
But it
how
was
awkward.
Quentin from the newest Freddy Krueger movie.
Okay,
Quentin. And
yeah.
if you remember him, he's like I forgot who plays him, but he looked like a goblin in there. It was terrible. He had to get a whole rework just to get his face looking good, man. It was
Dude,
disgusting. But anyways, see, that's what it reminds me of. It's
that's
freaking
what it looks
hilarious.
like.
Yeah,
So this one was funny. It's obviously from Midsummer. And the stupid crime. This was another one where I looked at it. I'm like, I don't get it. And then I see the picture. Hilarious. It's that
yeah.
got me cracking up. So Ben Platt makes this weird face when he cries, and it is bad. So if you're watching this,
Poor guy.
type in like Evan Hansen crying meme or something like that.
Oh yeah.
There is a lot. Twitter did not let off on that. So I guess that's a good thing that came out of the movie.
Any publicity is good publicity.
I guess. I guess. But they were not treating it well. A lot of them were really ragging it.
I felt bad for the guy. Even his like best friend, right? His actual like friend that actually talks to him.
Yeah.
Even he treats him like crap.
Yeah.
I'm so messed up.
Yeah.
My guy is
Yeah.
just like struggling in life, right? He's
Seriously.
struggling, and we've some of us have been to those depths where we're like, damn, like, what would you do to like to get further in life, like this guy, he carries a whole lie, right? A lie that he was friends with someone that killed themselves. That's terrible. But he carried that lie out. He's like, yeah, that was that guy's friend. Yeah. And he went to the funeral and everything. What kind of shit is that?
Yeah, it was.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, do you want to get into some of the bad stuff? Because
Yeah. Let's get into some of the bad
that was
stuff.
one thing that I didn't like was how manipulating even if they didn't mean to, they still were in the movie. Like the parents of the kid who killed himself. Like Amy Adams was the mom. She was projecting so much, like, oh, but you were his friend. Tell us stories, but tell us the stories. But he loved you. You know more about him. I was like, man, you're putting so much pressure on this stranger that you have no idea. And I get, grieving mom and stuff like that, but also it's like, man, like just the whole that whole thing was just like there was a lot of toxic relationships in this movie.
There were
and I don't know if that's a rich white people suburb thing. I don't know, to that 1.3% that you said, because it was definitely geared towards like people in the kind of the burbs who got a little bit more money and that kind of lifestyle. I mean, this wasn't my high school experience at all. So
true, you're right. It wasn't for me either. So, like, does this the story, right? The plot line for this movie, does it remind you of anything else? There's a movie that comes to my head right away when I saw this movie.
No.
So if you want, I guess, a better done version of this movie, which sounds horrible, but it's just true, look up Robin Williams. He did a movie called World's Greatest Dad. And it's damn near the same plot line. So pretty much in that movie, Robin Williams plays like a guy who's like a writer, and none of his stuff is getting published ever. He has really, really good writing. It's just because it's coming from him, No one wants to publish him. He doesn't have the hype. He doesn't have the pizzazz. He's just look at Robin Williams. Look at him straight up. Not even as him as just look at him how he is. He's kind of on the hairy side. He's kind of out there and whatnot. And he's just he's different. And rest in peace to Robin Williams. But the character in the movie is kind of like how he is in real life, and so. He's not getting published, so his son, who's like he doesn't give that much attention to, his son starts getting into weird stuff, right? Weird porn stuff, like where
really?
like he starts choking himself, type deal. And so the son, spoiler king alert, is what we do. The son in there, he kills himself accidentally when he was choking himself and trying to pleasure himself.
Oh,
really weird kink. No judgment, but really weird way to go. I should say, not kink. The kink is whatever. The kink is a kink, but really weird way to go. Like he accidentally off himself, and so Robin Williams' character walks in, and it's like the second time he's walked in on him doing something like this. But this time he actually like killed himself accidentally, and he's like, "Oh man, not again!" And then when he finally like walks in the room, he's like. And he starts crying and whatnot, just like how any dad would cry, right? When they see their son kill himself. But because he felt so ashamed of his son, he like picked him up, took off the tying stuff, and hung him in the closet, and hung him like with his neck, like old fashioned way, I guess you would say. And
yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of pictures that what the hell, man?
And Robin Williams, being the great writer that he is in the movie, he writes a suicide note that supposedly is written from the son's point of view. So very similar kind of movie tropes that they're using in this one as in that one. So in there, like Robin Williams, he writes stuff from his son, and then like that gets leaked to the school or something like that, and they start like saying like, oh my god, this is like a Nobel Prize winning writing, blah blah blah. He was so misunderstood. Whole time, by the way, the kid is a little shit. He's a little brat that nobody cares about, and he's just like nobody, like you don't love him, you don't have any attachment towards this kid. You can see he's like a piece of shit, and I feel bad it's because he didn't get the attention that he needed at home. Same thing kind of like in this movie, right? Dear Evan Hansen, Colton Ryan, right, that plays Connor Murphy, he just didn't get attention at home. That's what it just came down to. His mom was just always in her little like trendy, like what do you call those, trendy hobbies, and she would pay attention to that only. The dad, or the stepdad I should say, he's been there since he was like 3, but he's always just been about work, and he just kind of has no soul. He's just not very emotional, and he doesn't care, so he's just doing his thing, And then you got the sister, who's Zoe Murphy, played by Caitlin Dever. She is just doing her own thing, and she gets treated like shit by Connor anyways. Connor was somebody who nobody liked anyways.
He did a lot of crazy stuff. Like he even told her like he threatened to kill her. He like told her like pretty much like robbed her, like stole her money. It was like he was in rehab, so
he was in rehab.
It was just like a bunch of, he wasn't he was very violent though too, but I mean, he was always getting picked on because he was like, he dressed weird or whatever, so it was, I mean, in his room, he had to make holes from him punching the wall. So I was like, damn, so he had some mental issues for sure.
He did. And he was trying to better himself, but it was just the wrong pieces in his life were put there. Even though he had all the money, he had all the resources, right? Unlike the main character, Evan Hansen, he is with like a single mom struggling. Connor, he just has everything, but just no one understands him, no one pays him attention, so he offs himself. Pretty much.
It is.
It's very sad.
I just feel like they were. It's sad, but like you said, it and they try to tug at your heartstrings, and it comes off so cringy.
Yeah.
So cringy. I think even at one point my girlfriend like never lets me live down that I took her to go see one of the last Transformer movies that
Okay.
was like horrible. Like horrible. Like or it was like the first one that really started getting horrible. I think the one was like the first one was Marky Mark. That was just
Oh
bad.
god.
So she
Yeah.
never lets me live it down. You know, it was like you made me see Transformers. You know, it was like so bad of a movie. And halfway through this movie, she goes, "I think this one beats that Transformers." Like it was just so cringy because it was so cringy. It's like
Very
I get what they're
cringy.
trying to get at,
Cringe
but
City.
the whole time you're like, you're like,
Mhm.
oh, why, you know? And man, it takes a normal thing and exaggerates it so much. Like I don't know if anybody has the level of depression and anxiety and issues that Evan Hansen has, you know, so it seems like they just like amplified it by 10. Like, no, we need to make it more awkward. We need to make it
Ooh.
more, you know, antisocial. We need to make him more this. I was like, I don't know if people are that bad that would be in public school. You know
Right.
what I mean? That's my thing. It's like I don't know. It was just like everything was exaggerated, you know. So it
Well,
was very cringy.
you say exaggerated, but you don't think anyone's ever been this humiliated, this you don't think anybody can relate to this character?
I'm sure people can relate, but it's also
Mm.
but I think even the people that can relate are probably like, oh, that's way worse. You know, kind of like, oh, I remember that, but that's what he did was way worse.
I
You
mean,
know, but
he
it's like,
did he did a crazy he carried a crazy lie and carried
yeah,
that thing to like the very end type deal,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's basically that the whole thing is like, oh, I'm smarter than my parents. I'm smarter than adults. I can figure this out. It's just, but I think, but his like disorders that he had, you know, like he was taking like the medicine and stuff like that, and I was like, but it's just so like, I don't know, I don't know. It was just like, like to the point where it was almost unbelievable, you know. And I don't know if this is like him overacting
mm,
at it, you know, because he was trying to like make that character so believable that you're like no one actually does the things he kind of did.
so
You
I
know?
got a conspiracy. Want to hear it?
Yeah.
So he was taking a few medicines. I don't know if you actually looked into what he was taking. He was taking Zoloft. He was
Zoloft.
taking damn, what else was he
What was
taking?
he? I forgot.
Remember
I
Zoloft.
remember the last one he said was Ativan, and I'm like, ooh,
Oh yeah,
Ativan, son.
you know. Yeah, so he's taking a whole bunch of things. What if those things made him awkward? And here's the thing: he even kind of mentioned it and touched on it in the movie that his mom was kind of enabling him to be a burden, kind of on purpose, and always he was like, "Yeah, you just want to fix me," and whole time maybe he doesn't even need to be fixed. What if those things are making him worse more than anything? How? I mean, you tell me. Um, how many times do you think people get misdiagnosed or get medicine that they're not supposed to get just because they tell the doc all the right things?
Well, I mean, there's that part of it where people know what to say to get what they want, and they'll
Mm,
travel hospital to hospital to and do that. Um, usually with he's supposed well, we'll get into, he's supposed to be a high schooler. He's in high school. And I think a bigger issue with like high schoolers, especially like out in the burbs, you know, where they got, you know, quote unquote money,
right.
is over medication. You know, they're over medicating a lot of the younger kids. You know, and I'm not saying like because I know a lot of people are like, oh, just have them go play a sport. I was like, dude, that doesn't always work. You know, they're, you know, yeah, you know. So
Right.
I'm not saying like, you know, it's not a thing, you know, because it totally is, but it's also like instead of like holistically helping a person, they just throw a bunch of meds at you, like, here, take this, you'll feel better. But like on a medical side, like, well, just anybody who's listening, you know, I am a nurse, you know, like went to nursing school, everything. Um,
Hmm.
but anytime anybody takes any kind of antidepressants or anything along those lines, one of the side effects or one of the potential side effects, you know, adverse effect could be becoming more depressed, if people, yeah, and that's the thing is like people sometimes that are given a antidepressant or anti-suicidal kind of to bring you down, it could have the effect to kind of escalate you a little bit more. So it is a possibility, because you kind of find out because the whole thing he's wearing a cast, and you're like, why is he wearing the cast? Like, oh, he fell out of the tree. Spoiler, from Spoiler Kings, he didn't fall out the tree. He jumped out of the tree, which you find that out at the end, and I'm like, oh, so he, I guess, tried to kill himself, but in a
Tried
way
and
that
failed.
yeah, I mean, he wasn't gonna die from that height. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. But it was just like it's still like a thing that you tried, and then it kind of comes like the whole like, oh, is he, looking for attention, or was it the drugs that like kind of pushed him to that edge? I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's it's not easy when you have to give a kid like some kind of like mental disorder drugs, whether it be for
Right.
anxiety or depression or stuff like that. Like Ativan is an anti-seizure drug, but
Ooh.
it's also used to relieve anxiety. That's like one of the side effects of the drug is to relieve anxiety. So, and it does it very well because it yeah, it's rough, man, with all that stuff. Because I was like, oh, he's taking some big ones. Because he was talking to the girl, and the girl was taking a drug too.
Yeah.
I forgot what her name was, but she was kind of on the opposite end of
Alana.
everything. Yeah, Alana,
Yeah.
where she was like she was head of like a dozen clubs and stuff like that. She was everywhere. She was, but she had the same kind of problems he had, but he was more of a introvert, like didn't bother anybody. But
Right.
yeah, there's that whole part. But look, the biggest thing I hated about this movie was Ben Platt looked like a 30-year-old man in high school. And that was for me the hardest part was maybe it was the hair, but I'm like, dude was rocking like beard stubble.
Yeah.
Like you saw the beard stubble. I'm like, dude, like he's 29 or 30 or something like, or 29 or 28. He's supposed to be in high school. And I'm like, certain people can get away with that, not him. What I mean? He has a very older face already, like he has the old man lines, and I was like, and like his best friend, who was that, or his family friend, Jared,
Yeah.
he looked young. He looked
It
young.
did.
Even like Zoe looked really young.
She did.
But even though, yeah, I mean, it just, Zoe was 24, so that's more believable. It's really, so his friend Jared he's 27, so he just looked younger. I guess that's a good example of like, you have one guy who can look 18, even though he's 10 years older. Then you got Ben Platt, who's 28 and looks like he's 38. It's just like, and it was very distracting for me. I was like, this guy is so old.
Yeah.
Like
he looked old. Off. He didn't have main character vibes. He maybe
yeah, right? Yeah.
Maybe live doing the whole theater or Broadway.
It's probably very different.
Maybe it's different. Maybe we're not so much focusing on his face details and much more on his performance.
On the character. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably what it is. Because like when you're on the big screen, they focus on details like your face. That's just day one stuff. That's not even disrespect to him. That's just how it is. And so when he steps up to the big screen, we see that he's aged and it's hard to hide it unless you use CGI. And this is not the kind of movie you want to use CGI and waste, your budget on, things that you don't need. You don't need it in here.
Yeah. I mean, he's supposed to be 18, but like theoretically, so Amy Adams is, she's 47.
Yeah, she's up there.
She looks good for 47. Not damn. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you cut off his stupid hair, and he can easily be Amy Adams' husband. In this movie. So it's like,
wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just that was very, very distracting for At least for me, I didn't really. Right off the bat, I was like, he's way too old. At least he looks way too old. Yeah, maybe it was the hair because he had that weird,
Yeah.
messy, kid hair, or but yeah, I didn't really care about it.
Yeah. I cared about the ending a little bit. That's where like they were more successful with pulling on your heartstrings, is
Yeah.
when he kind of fesses up. Spoiler alert: if you haven't watched the movie, save us to your favorites, like the video, come back and finish off right at this point. But moving on, the ending, right? He kind of ties all loose ends, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
He fesses up to the big lie that he was never Connor's friend. Connor's the guy that offed himself, right?
Yeah.
Connor's the guy that nobody liked, nobody cared about. And so, when he passes away, everybody jumps on the bandwagon of, oh, this is the spotlight. Let's all talk about it. And it's great that it brought mental illness, and awareness, and going to the doctor and doing things that people were not used to doing. It's not the norm. It's great that it brought that to light, and it brought like the Connor Foundation or something that Alana was trying to
Counter
raise.
project, yeah.
Yeah, like that was dope. They raised $100,000, but off of a lie, right?
Yeah.
So the whole lie is that the main
Mm-hmm.
character, Evan, was friends with Connor.
Counter.
Connor, he writes on the cast that where Evan broke his arm. And it was just like it was a weird encounter too. That's one thing I
It
kind
really
of
was.
disliked. It was just so abrupt and so quick, where random stranger that you never talked to, in the hallway comes up to you and is like, "Hey, I see no one wrote on your cast." Like, I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it was just so not organic the way it came on the screen, and
Yeah.
so it was just like, "Hey, no one signed your cast. I'm signing it just so we can pretend we both have friends," and it's just like they try to create a moment, and it was a swing and a miss.
Yeah. It was because that's like the pivotal part of the whole movie was that part in the beginning where he signs the cast. I felt like I'm like, oh, he's trying to be friends with him, but then he sees the letter that he wrote himself. I don't know how you accidentally print it. It was like you have to hit like 3 buttons, dude. Like even if
His
you control P,
His
I
goofy
don't.
ass, he gave it to Alana. I don't know how she got it off of his phone.
He gave it to her. He
But
gave
like
it to her.
he showed her
sent
off of his
her
phone.
on-
He was like, look.
Oh no, he
I
sent
don't-
her an email.
Oh, he sent her an email. Oh, what an idiot.
He sent her an email. He sent her an email of the picture of that letter, the suicide letter, which was really Evan's letter to himself that Connor found. Like that whole was like that's what I was kind of talking about. I'm like, it's so exaggerated. I was like, an interaction like that will never happen in real life. It was
You know, it's a real life letter, right?
What's that?
I want to read the letter.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I have the letter that was in the movie.
Yeah.
And then there's actually an actual letter that I found that's a longer version, a little bit longer version. I'll read it quickly. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, a lot more darker. I wish they would have went with this version, because then maybe
was
I
it
would
an actual suicide note, or was it a note that somebody wrote themselves and it was in somebody else's pocket?
it sounds more like a suicide note. It sounds
an
more
actual,
like a suicide. Yeah, which makes more sense.
Yeah.
But it's a suicide note that Evan did write to himself, but this one's more gritty. So let me read the original real quick, right? So it says, "Dear Evan Hansen, it turns out this is a letter to himself. He's trying to he's trying to build his I don't know, self-esteem or something by writing these letters. So, dear Evan Hansen, it turns out this wasn't an amazing day after all. This isn't going to be an amazing week or an amazing year, because why would it be? Oh, I know, because there's Zoe, and all my hope is pinned on Zoe, who I don't even know and who doesn't know me. But maybe if I did, maybe if I could just talk to her, then maybe nothing would be different at all. I wish that everything was different. I wish that I was a part of something. I wish that anything I said mattered to anyone I mean to face it. Would anyone even notice if it disappeared tomorrow? Sincerely, your best and most dearest friend, me." So that's the one they have in the movie. The one that I found on Reddit, it's a little bit different. It goes, "Dear Evan Hansen, nobody else understands me. What's worse is nobody else wants to try. You're my best friend. I have. Or let's face it, the only friend I have. It's just you and me here. So let's just be honest with ourselves, because why not, right? Mom didn't want me. Dad didn't want to stay. Mom got stuck with me. Mom has to deal with me. Dad got to start over. Why didn't we get to start over? Nobody let us start over. Why does nobody let you start over? Why can't I start over? I want to start over so badly. God damn, he's the same damn lines. I want to start over so badly. I want to be somebody new, but I look in the mirror and big surprise, it's still the same old me. Everybody else has a family. I just have parents. Everybody else has a home. I just have a house, a lonely little house with a tiny. And you know what? Where's the bad part? And then there's Zoe. My entire existence is wrapped up in Zoe. Kind of the same thing, just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Oh, at the very end, he says, your nerve gets weaker. Your feelings get hurt enough times that you'd rather not feel anymore. You give up. I give up. I give up. And once and for all, I give up. Sincerely, me. That's a little bit deep. That's a little bit more darker. The fact that you're saying
that
you
sounds
give
more,
up.
yeah.
When you give up on life, it's like, damn. It's like, bro, like, you good? You want to talk? And he wrote that, and it was supposed to be to himself, so nobody else was going to see this anyway. So the fact that someone sees this is more of a big deal than the first version, which was super short. And I get it. You know, you don't got to read that in a whole movie, and you have limited time. But they could have used different parts of that letter, in my opinion.
Yeah. So is that the one from the play?
I think it's the one from the play.
From the play part, yeah. That probably makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
like you
tried
said,
so hard.
Mm-hmm. Most plays don't translate to movies too well.
No,
it's kind of tough.
I'm trying to think of one that did, and I really can't. You know, that turned into that was like a good movie. You know, if there are good musicals, but Broadway shows turned into movies usually don't work. Like even In the Heights was okay. You know, I didn't mind it, but like my girlfriend and her sister who saw it, you know, on Broadway, you know, in New York, you know, they're like, it was way better live. I'm like, I bet, you know.
Damn.
So even this one, I'm sure a lot of people loved it live.
What about My Big Fat Greek Wedding? That's a good movie? That wasn't that a play?
I have no idea.
Am I way off? Damn.
I don't think that's a musical.
No.
It might be a play, but
that one did well. The second one did crappy. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. You wanna do the reviews?
Yeah. Let's do it, man. So, the way we do reviews here as the Spoiler Kings at the Nerd Huddle, we review movies either one of three ways that you see on your screen. We either rate it a now, which means you have to go watch this film right away, or else you're gonna miss out on all the hype. Excuse me. Watch it later, which means it's not really worth your time right away. You can kind of put it on the back burner, or watch it never. If you're to watch never, that means that you don't even want to give this movie a time of day. It's just not a big waste of time. What did you think about the movie?
So dear Evan Hansen, I'm gonna give it a never. It just wasn't good, man. Like I think the only people that liked this movie were the people that liked the actual musical. It just was bad, you know, for like so many reasons. It was so cringy. It was like kind of like a little hard to watch, a little unbelievable at times. A 30-year-old man playing an 18-year-old, you know, in high school, it was very distracting.
Yeah,
it was just a lot of things that was just like what? It was just, and I mean the music was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't that great. I mean, I see musicals with much better music in it. You know, this one was kind of like it just hit the numbers that it needed to do.
I mean, I'm not the greatest artist, but I almost want to say that I thought the music was bad. I thought the music was a little bad. Like, I think sometimes it was even off key, but I thought it was done on purpose because of the cringiness. I thought it was kind of going for that. Maybe I just have a bad ear, but that's what I thought they were doing. I thought they were like going bad with the music because of how cringy it was.
Yeah, the performing was good, the singing was good, but the actual songs themselves were not my favorite. They were never. There's one part towards the end. I know we're past like bad reviews, but there's one part. So when he confesses to the family that he lied, and he tells them everything. There's a part where me and my girlfriend start laughing, and it's supposed to be this big emotional part, right? Where he's like finally confessing, and we start laughing because he's kind of singing and crying and talking, right? And there's a part where he says something, and they ask him a question, and he's like, "Words fail me." I was like, or words fail. I was like,
Yeah.
what? it was like you're in and then me and my girlfriend were like, it was like, oh, next time we get in an argument, we're just gonna be like, one of us break into song, like words fail me. I was like, but he said it like as he was crying, so it sounded weird. And I was just like,
Oh, it was bad.
hey, either sing or don't. Like you can't cry, sing talk. Like it just oh god, it was so bad.
Should have break new barriers.
Seriously, right? Yeah, the dude underwater go for a big thing. Cool, man. What about you, man? What do you rate it?
So for the movie Dear Evan Hansen, I'm gonna unfortunately give this movie review a never. So sad because it had so much potential. If they would have had all the right elements, like a movie like World's Greatest Dad with Robin Williams, I hope I'm getting the title right, and something like that.
Yeah, you are.
If they would have got a little bit more heartfelt and less cringy, I don't know if cringy was the intent of the movie, but that's where we ended up. Like if you go on Reddit and you type up cringy, this movie should show up on that subreddit thread. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Well, I mean, when I Googled the film just to see what people were saying, it was like 13 most cringeworthy parts of this movie. I was like, what? It was like that was one. And then it was like, oh, the meme because it's so cringy, like his crying face. In it. It still cracks me up, man, because that shit was freaking hilarious. Because it's a super sad part of the movie, and it's just like
so sad.
I think it's that overacting, that play overacting. So I wind up looking at Rotten Tomatoes to see, like we usually do, and I was insanely shocked the difference between the critic score and the audience score. So who do you think hated the movie? Was it the audience or was it the critics?
I want to say the critics hated the movie. That's what I think.
Yeah, you're right. So the critics, 173 reviews, 33%.
Oh,
33%. Damn. Yeah, I think this has got to be one of the lowest on the tomato meter that we've done, I think.
Snap.
Yeah, I think so. Because even last week it was in the 40s. So when we did Cry Macho.
Oh, right.
So 33. Guess what the audience gave it, dude?
Let's see. If the critics gave it a 33, I don't know. The audience gave it a 44?
A 90%.
Get the fuck? You kidding me?
And I'm like, those have to be just the people that love the musical. And I'm like, the musical might be great, I think it won awards and it was like a great musical, but it didn't translate into a good movie, and that's the difference. It's like you can have a great book and it be a crappy movie. It doesn't mean like the book is crappy, the book is good, the movie sucks. The play is good, the movie sucks, But I think that's what it is. It seemed like more people tend to who like the musical gave this one more heart in it. But
that's surprising.
Yeah, that was shocking. A huge discrepancy, or difference between the two. 33 90. To 90. That's bonkers because 90 is like up there with some of the better movies we've reviewed so far. I'm like, that's insane.
90 is saying it's as good as let's see, what was a really good movie that we watched? It's as good as Tomorrowland, or it's as good as any Marvel movie. It's as good as Endgame. That's what you're saying. And that's definitely not true.
I mean, dude, they got Black Widow got 91% audience. Reminiscence, that was horrible, got 38. Malignant, which I thought Malignant was probably a better, funner movie. It's got a 52. on the audience. I was like, what?
Wow.
Even Suicide Squad got an 82 on the audience, and that was a bazillion times better than this, crap turd that we got, singing at us. So
I'm not a
the
fan
play
of
might be
musicals.
great.
I'm not a fan of musicals, and even musicals, like I'm not the biggest fan. Maybe just call me just ignorant. I did watch Aladdin. Aladdin when it was here in Chicago. That was nice.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that live, but
Yeah.
I'm not big on the musicals, and this one didn't make me any more of a fan. It kind of pushed me more away, if anything. I probably won't want to watch a musical for a good while. And
if you want a good palate cleanser for a musical, that's not like too like artsy fartsy, because like Hamilton's really good, but I think it's a little up its own butt sometimes, especially with all the love it was getting. Still, I loved it though. But if you want something to really laugh at, Cannibal the musical. It's was it Cannibal? I believe it's made by the Trey Parker and Trey Parker and Matt Stone, South Park.
Okay.
Yeah, Cannibal the musical. It came out in 93. All right, so it's a little bit old.
Okay.
It is freaking hilarious. Hilarious. And obviously they're in the movie. So, so good. Another good one that it's not a movie yet is Book of Mormon. Was amazing. It was so good. I don't know if it could translate into a good movie because the stuff they talk about there is really, really messed up. Like they found the cure for AIDS, and I can't say what it is because we'll probably got like our channel kicked off.
Damn.
I'll tell you off air what it is if you want to know what it is.
Yeah.
But but it's such a great. Yeah. There you go. That was a great funny musical. Get your little buddy.
Good night. It's time to say good night.
I feel bad.
You okay?
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
We got Spider-Man pajamas on.
Oh yeah, we got a Spider-Man onesie. Fresh from my mother. Yeah, the Miles Morales one.
Best one. But yeah, man. So if you want something like funny to watch and you want to,
so you said
get rid of the nasty taste. Cannibal the musical, it's called.
Okay.
It's really really stupid. It's a musical, but it's a South Park kind of musical. So if you ever seen South Park the movie with all the stupid songs they did, it's kind of the same vibe, but it's this one's kind of very stupid. But I liked it.
Do we hear some of the same voices from South Park or some of those same variations?
I don't remember. It's hard to determine because whenever I hear Matt Stone and Trey Parker now, I just hear all their characters, The same thing in basketball, when they did basketball, like I just heard so many of their characters from all the things they've done, So I don't think this came out in 93, which is right around the time South Park was kind of getting big, I think, or just starting or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it was originally big. But I don't know. But yeah, check it out, man. It's kind of goofy. Don't watch it with your son. Like, it is not kid friendly. But it's a fun one, man.
Cool.
That's a good musical if you wanna go check that one out. But yeah, man, I think that's it from us this week, right? You got anything else?
Nah, that wraps it up for us.
Yeah.
Get ready for next week.
If you're watching live, we're gonna give away the free Black Widow digital code. So next week we're going to give away another one. So make sure you follow us, subscribe, and be on the lookout for our giveaway video that we make. And you can win another digital movie from us. But if you're watching live, stick around and we'll pick a winner. And then for next week, we are watching Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And I'm super excited about that one.
Hell yeah.
Super excited. Because the early reviews, a bunch of people already saw it, and it got people like it. Which kind of got me scared because people liked the first one, and the first one sucked. But I think there's a lot of people. I haven't heard a bad thing about it yet. Where the first one, There was a lot of people like it was good, but this one was like, no, it's good. Like, so I'm excited, man. We did a couple weeks of pretty crappy movies.
Yeah,
So,
we have no choice. I mean, what comes out comes out.
I think my girlfriend at the end, she goes, this movie sucked. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I should have just reviewed Shang-Chi again. Just review that one again. I was like, we should have.
That's funny.
But before we pick our winner, is our schedule over here on the Nerd Huddle. We got a few football shows on Tuesday and Wednesday, so go check them out. They're gonna give you all your fancy football goodies and all that stuff. Thursday is our trending show. Did we just become best friends? We talk about any nerdy news and all the trending stuff. We've been recapping What If every week, which is pretty awesome. That's coming down to an end. And then Sunday as well, Morning Spike. That's our fancy football right before kickoff. We'll help you out there. And the Spoiler Kings right here on this channel every Monday, giving you guys the review of the weekend blockbuster or expected blockbuster, because the last two were not good. Cool. But I think that is it from us this week. And we will see you guys next week. Later.